Travelers have had to deal with these widespread cancellations that are impacting almost every airline. We're seeing thousands of cancellations across the country. It's often due to weather, which is something that we've dealt with before coronavirus. But now that we're dealing with staffing shortages and the virus itself, we're seeing even more chaos. The difference that travelers need to know about an Omicron or coronavirus cancellation versus a normal weather cancellation is, like before the pandemic, if an airline cancels your flight because of weather, you're not entitled to things like a hotel room or extra perks. This is something that they say is beyond their control. This is not something that they're going to provide any financial assistance with. But if you have a cancellation due to any other reason, like a mechanical error or staffing issues from the airline, travelers are entitled to things like a hotel voucher or a taxi voucher. Maybe food at the airport could get covered. So what you want to do is find out, why is my flight being canceled? Because you could be entitled to more benefits. One of the simplest things that travelers can do to make sure they have a smoother day of travel or be able to pick up the pieces of a crazy travel day is book your flights as early as possible in the morning. What that's going to do is, if your plans go haywire, you can rebook a different flight at later points in the day. There are more options to choose from. Another very simple tip for travelers, and this one can be difficult depending on where you're going and what kind of traveler you are, but you want to stick to a carry-on as much as possible and not check your luggage. Because we're seeing all this craziness and canceled flights are becoming more common, you don't want to get stuck with your suitcase on a different flight scheduled for elsewhere. You want to make sure that if you have to scramble and find a new plan, you have your stuff with you and you can move quickly to finding a train or finding a new flight on a different airline. So if you can, travel very light. In addition to those simple tips, you can do things like book directly with the airline so you're not dealing with the middleman. Conversely, you could book your travel with a travel agent whose job it is to make sure your trip actually happens. They will advocate for you should your flight get canceled and figure out a plan B for you. If you find out that your flight has been canceled, you are owed a refund from the airline. This is something that an airline is not going to tell you, but you are legally entitled to a refund if an airline cancels your flight. You're also owed a refund if your airline significantly delays your flight. Usually that means about 2 hours, but it can change depending on the airline. But know that this isn't going to be an immediate thing you see in your bank account. It can often take 7 to 10 days to see a refund. While you might want to cancel and get a refund immediately, you're feeling very frustrated at the airport, the airline has just canceled your flight, it's not always a better idea to go for that refund right away. Often you might have to deal with other travelers who are scrambling to get the last remaining flights. It could be much more expensive for you. There might not be another option. So I would advise people to check what the airline is offering first before you go into I want a refund mode. I would tell travelers who are going to be flying at this time, don't go into your travel day thinking that everything is going to go perfectly. Chances are it's not. There's a lot of chaos at airports right now, whether it's not all of the shops are open or you're having delays or you're finding cancellations. Go prepared for that. Go in with a calm demeanor, knowing that things might not go your way. Pack snacks, keep your luggage with you. And lastly, be kind to all the people who are working in the airline industry right now. That should be a given before the pandemic, but right now they're dealing with some of the craziest times of their career.